Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for joining in today. Um, Today we're going to talk about today's training is on the supply and demand moves, and what I mean by that, what are we expect, what are we, what we should be looking for. Yeah, that'll be better worded. What we should be looking for when price is approaching a supply and demand structure, supply and demand area, right? So as you can see here, we have three types of moves that we should be looking for when price um, approaches supply and demand structure. Now, the other three that's over here is the same thing as this. It's just based on different direction in the market. If you're looking for a buy or sell, right? But they're the same thing. So the first one, right? We're looking for price to hit that supply and demand and reject, right? And when off that rejection, we can look for a structure reversal within that area to enter in the market for a trade idea. The second move that we can expect when price approach a supply and demand area, we can expect an internal retest, right? When price pulls a little bit higher, or in this case over here below that that supply and demand, then comes back, then retest back, then drop back into the structure, retest the structure, and then sell, right? And once again, in opposite direction, look for price to um, drop below the supply and demand structure, pull back up, retest that structure, and then buy. The third move that we can expect in this market, guys, is we can expect the just a breakout, normal breakout of retest, right? Normal breakout and retest at the supply and demand. So in these first two examples, we looking what these are. These ideas are, and I should mark this, right? Number one is a sell idea, right? I'm just make that smaller. I did not actually label that, so I'm glad to do that now. So number one is a sell idea, right? Based on structure. Number two is also going to be a sell idea. But then number three, right, is more of a buy idea, right? Yeah, guys, you could take a screenshot of this and make notes, right? Notes takers or money makers. And write down questions, any questions you have. We can review them on a one-to-one session, and where I could go a little more in depth with you about these three moves. This way you can be properly educated, right? The goal is to help everyone learn the skills so they can be financially independent. So when we look at this as well, when we look at the other side, these would be buy ideas, right? This would be a buy idea, and then this, right, would be a sell idea, right? So it's it's the opposite. If prices coming out, we expect price at that structure, right? We can expect prices now reverse, go the opposite direction. We can also expect price to have a deeper drop, but once again, it is a reverse to go the opposite direction. Or we can have price break up and retest that structure beneath and then continue going down, right? So just to expunge on, move out the way, just to expunge a little bit more on the, on number three, right? Once again, price is not a straight line. It's not going to just be like this, right? We're going to have moves doing this, right? But it could have something like that. So this number three, just an example, right? Of like we're looking at a buy idea, right? This would be a buy idea example. Let's call that again. This would be a buy idea example, right? So just number three here and number three here is the same thing, right? I'm just showing you something you could also expect, right? Price can hit that supply and demand, and instead of continue coming all the way, instead of price hitting that structure and continue going all the way down like this, it's going to have a shorter pullback, That could be to the 38% level on the Fibonacci, right? That's something else that we later trainings I'll talk about. And then price, then break through the structure and retest and give you that number 3 move right here, break through, retest, and then you look to buy at this area in that market. Now, one of the things that I want you guys to pay attention to is that this move here is a key market pattern, right? Whenever price hit a supply and demand on opposite side, we can expect a big push to which direction the market is looking to go, right? So for example, this would be a buy idea. So when price hit this supply and demand on the low side, reject, and then break through and came back and hit it for the second time, right? And that same supply and demand, we can expect a big push in the market to the upside. All right, so let's look at this on the live charts now. I'm on the 1 hour time frame, so I just want to keep it simple. I'm not going to go into lower time frame for this one. So for example, we can look at a supply and demand here, right? This is a nice supply and demand area, and this supply and demand, this market structure was an example of number 2 for the buy idea, right? As we can see over here, what happened is that price came all the way down, right? It had a little pullback, no problem. That's this is a number 1, a little bit of number 1, but this is mainly number 2, right? Price broke out that structure, as we can see, came up, retested, right? And then decided to go up, right? Just like number 2 over here, a price breaking below, come back above, retest, and then buy up, right? So that's one example. Another example would be right after that, right? When we look at the supply and demand above that right here. Let me just draw this up real quick for you guys. So as we can see over here, we have a supply and demand. And this played out like this is number 3, right? This, which is a little bit of this as well. And this is what I mean when I say expunge a little bit more in number 3. It's not just going to be a clean breakthrough all the time like this. The market is not a straight line. They do a lot of up and down, but overall it's the same thing, right? So as we can see here, just like the number 3 example that I was showing that's on the far right, price hit that structure, pulled down. It didn't go all the way down here, right? It just hit that structure, pulled down, but it broke through, retest. So it touched on that side, touched on the opposite side, right? And as we can see, look at that beautiful big push in the market. Boom, right? You look to enter over here, major profit, guys, over 100 pips, right? So that was a great trade buy idea example. We can look in this market again. We can look at, we look at a supply and demand area. For example, let's say this area right here. I don't know the overall supply and demand area. I haven't marked up the full chart. I'm just going off what I'm seeing here, the small portion on the screen. So bear with me. But this is also another example, right? This will be an example of a number 1, right? Sell idea for the number 1 over here. What we can see is that price went all the way up to that supply and demand. And then once it hit it, right, we have price coming right back down. Now, and as you can see, when price coming down is not a straight line, and the price going up is not a straight line. But one of the things that I want you to notice, I'm going to be speaking on another training, on the break and retest training, is how to enter when price hit these areas. As we could start spotting highs and lows in the market, lower highs, right? Price coming underneath, retest. And now this retest, right? That's example right there. This example, let me just delete that back. An example, we can look to enter based on the structure over here, right? To take it, continue going now. But as we can see, a combination of price hitting there and coming down. We also have off that low, right? We have price bouncing there. A number, what number is that? That is a number 3 idea right over here, right? So once again, look what happened here. We have price came right under, retest, and then continue going down, right? And we look to enter over there. So that's another example. Bunch of examples here, right? You know, I'm looking at this, but you can even potentially look at this overall of, you know, this would be a number 2 example over here, right? It's all based on how you can look at the market as well. You see that price, you know, it's hitting it came up from here, but it's hitting this point, it came down, right? That's the number 1. And we can look at trends in the market and lows to determine to sell this trade. But once again, that's the number 1 example. We see that price hit it, came underneath. That's the number 1 as well. We can look at the trend over here to look to take this down. That's also a number 1 example of that supply and demand. And then we have a number 2 example. So once again, this was a number 1 example. Price hit it and then came down. See that? Right. But then we also have a number 2 example, right? Price went all the way up. Let's look at number 2. Number 2 said internal price go above, come underneath, retest the structure, right? And then we look for the sell, right? Let's look at that. Let's go back over here. That's number 2. So we can see that price went all the way up, right? Came back underneath. Look at that. Retest the structure. Look at that. And then major drop. Look at that. Number 2 ideas, trade ideas, right, are really my favorite, guys. We catch big explosion moves on that. I talk a little bit more about that in my Smart Money 101 training video. You guys can watch that and you'll see how I look to enter on those within these areas, right? Number 2, this was on number 2. Once again, on this side, when we have price came below, look at that, came above, retest, right? And then price, give us the big move going up. Look at that, right? And then within that, we had other break and retest, right? You can see, you know, potentially we can have another number 2 here. Look at that. Price came in above, retest. So we can expect this to happen, right? And, you know, we can combine this with, you know, other things when we look at a trade as well, guys. You could combine this with trends, right? You could look at a trend in the market and say, you know, price is bouncing off the trend area. You could expect that reversal point, price hitting it to, you know, push up. So these are other things we can pay attention to help strengthen our analysis. So those are some, you know, we could keep doing this all day long, right? The market's going to do one of these 3 moves when it hit its supply and demand, right? So, you know, this training is really just making it very simple for you. You know, once you memorize these 3 moves, or, you know, just go on the chart and just review, just back test, right? Looking at, you know, market supply and demands and look at how price react to those areas. And once you could start spotting these areas, right, spot what price is doing, you're going to also learn how to enter, right? So we can have a structure, you know, price could be going up and down over here, and we have a structure reversal to take the trade over there. We look to enter the trade when price retest there. We look to enter the trade when price retest here, right? So these are areas we also look based on the structural move at the supply and demand, where we're looking to enter, right? So I hope that was a little bit clearer on that. I could actually even show you guys some real life examples from earlier today. Let me see, NU. Let's see if NU was a good example. So I'm in a quick trade with NU, 17 pip risk for you. Pip TP, target one already hit. Let's look at GU. Okay, GU is a better example. We're in the hour time frame, right? So this is where we can have a combination, right? Of a, look at this, we have a downtrend, right? We have market hitting that supply and demand. So look what we have. We have price came down, give us a short rejection. Price came right under, retest, right? It touched on the opposite side. Look at that, on the opposite side, and with a combination of a trend line, and we were able to make go off this trade 200 pips. Was able to secure 200 pips off this trade, right? So this was a beautiful trade, and on a smaller time frame, 5 minutes, I was able to catch more entries and was able to secure 44 pips extra. Right, so this is a beautiful example, guys, of it's a beautiful example of the combination with the trend, and what to expect at a supply and demand, right? So we'll talk about how we can look to enter on these areas. Okay. Do I have another example? Let's see, SPX. All right, so this earlier, so this is another example of SPX. It's it broke through that supply and demand. We had a retest, a combination with a trend line. We was able to catch trade coming down, and was able to secure, look at that, about 96 pips, right? It was a lot of pips. Price pulled back a little bit. This is where we adjust our stop loss as well. Nice example. Same thing for NAS. Was able to secure a NAS off that 600 pips. So that was good profit. We're looking to swing that as well. Once again, guys, let's go back to the hour time frame. Once again, everyone, please please take a picture of this. Feel free to review it. Make notes, right, from this video. This is also another example, number 3, with an extra move on number 3, right? So please pay attention to these moves, guys, and trading will become a little bit more easier. Thank you guys for your time. If you guys have any questions, please write down the questions, take notes, and you can message me privately, and we could schedule a one-to-one session where we could go in depth with this, about this training, so make sure you're properly educated. Once again, thank you guys for your time. Have a wonderful day.